Welcome to another HomeBhoys Extra. As you'll hear, I'll warn you all now, there will be background noise as they are every week. Now, a wee bit different this week. What I've got sitting in front of me is, I believe, is one of Scotland's great paradoxes, as you'll find out as we go into the actual in-depth of the interview. But first of all, I'd like to welcome to the podcast Iain McGill. Iain, how are you?
Very well, Paul. Very well.
Looking resplendent in his designer stubble, close cropped hair, you know, it's a new generation. But before we get into it, Iain, I think our listeners would be very keen to know what it's like to be on Chris Graham's enemies list.
Best thing ever. I've only got one ambition in life, is to get to number one in Chris Graham's enemies list. He's got me a lot of friends. I didn't have so many Celtic friends, I didn't have so many Aberdeen friends until Chris Graham put me at the top of that list. I've had pints from folks, Aberdeen, Celtic, Dundee United, total strangers going, "You're that Iain McGill, Chris Graham hates you, have a pint."
And do you know why you're on it?
Okay. I'm afraid it's a bit of a measure of the man's grasp of the political scene.
Right.
I'm a Hearts fan. I'm a Hearts fan. I'm not a Rangers fan. I'm no Celtic fan either. I took great pleasure in Rangers' demise as a Hearts fans. As Hearts fans did. I don't think Scotland needs a strong Rangers. Chris Graham took offence to that. Found a picture of me shaking hands with David Cameron. Decided me and David Cameron were best pals, best buddies, out and about all the time. And I've met Cameron a couple of times. But we're no best buddies.
This kind of falls into the rampant paranoia that goes along with this kind of thing. And obviously you were somebody who was quite vocal in that respect. And I think probably because they did see that you had probably a smidgen of political nous, but somehow you'd be using that to make sure Rangers died, basically. Yeah. Which is just ludicrous when you actually look at the story.
They were capable of killing. They were very capable of killing themselves on their own.
Exactly.
A bit of gentle ribbing on Twitter in some way. It's they want to destroy my career and destroy my business.
This is. We'll come on to that later, actually, with social media and stuff. But first of all, what we talk about is the Homeless World Cup, which is something you've been a flag bearer for a long time. You've been a referee and stuff like that. Can you tell me how you got involved in that?
Yeah, the Homeless World Cup's just a fantastic project. I run from here in Edinburgh, working with projects in pretty much 100 countries around the world, using football as a tool for positive change with individuals, but also presenting homeless folk in a real positive light. It's funny, rough sleeping's on the increase in Edinburgh at the moment, and folks see folks begging, folks sleeping out in the streets. Read the odd nasty story. Folks don't have a positive impression of homeless folks. And then you hold an event like the Homeless World Cup in Princess Street Gardens, and all these folk who cross the road to avoid a homeless person, they're coming down, supporting homeless folk, seeing homeless folk having fun, playing football. They've got skills, they can be entertaining, they've got personalities, and they're really changing their lives and moving on. So it's also flagging up homeless folk have got tons to offer, and they just need an opportunity. And that cities shouldn't be. It's not out of sight, out of mind. There's homeless folk here in Edinburgh that need our help, and part of that, having it in Edinburgh, is raising that awareness. When we've had it around the world, Cape Town, Melbourne, Copenhagen, it's raising the profile of, look, we got a homelessness problem in the city. What are we going to do about it? So folks come down, watch some football, and go. But they also come away going, what are we going to do to get these folks off the streets? What are we going to do about the homeless problems they have? I got involved in 2005 when Edinburgh hosted it. Mel Young founded a big issue in Scotland, runs the Homeless World Cup. He'd phoned me up, said, "Iain, you got a background in homelessness, international aid and development, and you have a referee's badge." Oh yeah, this sounds like sounds like something's coming. He said, "Yeah, will you come down? We need some referees to volunteer." this is idea, this is what we're doing, can you come down and spare a week? I said, yeah, of course, no problem. Now, can you bring 3 pals? Right, okay. So went down, refereed for a week. It was the best refereeing I'd done. It was just great fun. There was a great buzz about the tournament. Folks were doing good things. And I was working in the homeless scene at the time. And I've just been involved ever since. Again, that sort of perfect storm. That perfect storm, they're going, oh Ian, can you just help us out with this? Can you just help us out with that? And some of it is, Ian, will you drive 4 hours to do a presentation to a Rotary Club on a Thursday night and wherever? And you're going, yes, I'll drive and do this presentation to the Rotary Club to try and get some funding. And other times it's, Ian, you're coming out to Cape Town with tournaments in Cape Town, love you to be part of that. And that's much more, that's probably much more fun than doing a Rotary Club in the middle of nowhere. But
I'm sure, like, obviously, I mean, the exposure in terms of highlighting plighted homeless people, but I'm sure in terms of people who are involved and are playing and managing and all that kind of, it increases their self-worth, self-esteem.
Absolutely, and that's
a time when they probably feel most alienated.
Yeah, and football's entirely just the hook to get folks in and work with them. So football in itself, when it's done right in a nice, positive, healthy environment, does increases folks' well-being, increases folks' fitness, increases their self-respect, their esteem, all of that. Just some basics. If exercise as a cure or an aid for mental health would be the biggest wonder drug in the world. If someone just invented it now, it'd be the biggest wonder drug in the world. But it's not just been invented.
Do you get how much support do you get, for example, for the SFA?
It's come and gone over the last 11 years. It's come and gone. It's come and gone. It's pretty good now. It's pretty good, but there's been personnel changes and different sides of organisations, funding streams and priorities change over the last 11 years or so. So yeah, there's.
And how is it all funded? Are you relying on donations, or do companies get involved?
Yeah, so it is. So the tournament and support for local organisations is big sponsorship and big and small sponsorship. We've had good deals over the years. Folks like Vodafone and Nike have given great funding and access to their high-profile celebrities. Lewis Hamilton's and the likes coming down to do stuff, and just absolutely small stuff like I'm saying, Rotary clubs and schools doing school classes doing projects to raise £100 or whatever. Nike giving $250,000, different, all scales doing well. Marketing, selling books and t-shirts, that sort of stuff. And the cities that host, the cities compete to host the Homeless World Cup, and the city themselves, part of their hosting bid is it's not cheap to run a tournament, bringing a few hundred people over, and they have to commit to a legacy. So they have to commit to a situation for homeless folk being better after the tournament than it was before the tournament. So that legacy is all there, and it costs money, and that comes from the cities who want to use the Homeless World Cup as a profile for their homeless population, their homeless projects, what they're doing. So they use that as a catalyst. Individual countries, so in Scotland, our partner Street Soccer Scotland. David Duke would be. I'd suggest David Duke for your podcast. He'd be great fun, or Ali Dawson, who works there as well. Obviously,
Ali Dawson's been mentioned on one of the podcasts previously, actually.
Right.
He's managed to be Hamilton, but we'll go for that.
So it is. So Ali and Dave, they work at an office just down the road on Leaf there. So Street Soccer Scotland, they run the projects all year round with homeless folks up and down the country, and they've got good partnership. So RBS are their biggest funder at the moment. They've got a super partnership going on with them. There's been different ones through the years.
Yeah.
But RBS are a big partner at the moment and fund the local.
And I guess the question that probably all football fans will be asking themselves when listening to this is, how have Scotland done in the Women's World Cup?
Yeah. It's funny because it's been 13. So there's been 13 tournaments, and Scotland have won twice. Scotland's won twice out of 13. Really respectable. That's a men's tournament. We've not won the women's tournament yet, and we'll get there. There's a real. The press love it when these guys win. It's a real good news. It's a real good news story when these guys win. But we've got a real affection for a lot of the teams who've won it. There's 60, 70 teams coming out. There's one team wins it, but everyone's. This is so much more than winning. Teams at the top level, they talk about different things. You know, Hearts, we're about being a good community club now. We're about developing young players and being a real positive thing in the community. We announced the new stand yesterday at the AGM, and it's about being great for the whole area and making sure Corgi gets revitalised through what we're doing. You know, it's so much more than just winning. But the winning's important. The Homeless World Cup and the teams, so much more than winning. It's such a bonus if you win. It was lovely to win the league last year, but we're doing so much more. The Homeless World Cup team, lovely to win that trophy, but it's so much more. And there's plenty of guys who've been losing. Their stories are.
Well, I can imagine, but what I would be interested in is, I mean, would it be, for example, Scotland and England be as feisty as a normal Scotland and England team?
When you cross the line, when you cross that line and you cross that line, you put on the national anthem. It doesn't matter. You could pick anyone for Scotland, anyone for England. The difference is before and after. One of the real interesting things of the Homeless World Cup is the players, the teams, everyone's encouraged very much, encouraged and forced to be mixing with other teams. So you have conversations. You have Scottish guys sitting down with the team from Zimbabwe or Afghanistan, Israel, Palestine, Kenya. Say, what's it like being homeless in Zimbabwe? They say, and they go, what's it like being homeless in Scotland? They tell massive contrast, but folks are sharing their experiences. Very different. Folks have been refugees. Folks have been. There is teams coming out of refugee camps. There's teams coming out of just all sorts of experiences. So they form a bond. The Scotland and England guys, they always form a bond. They've got a common language, a common culture. They're going to be pals, but they know the folks from all the countries. They've got an idea of what's going on. And folks have got distinct personalities. Teams for the favelas in Brazil. They're pretty like you. They're pretty like you would imagine. Japan always bring a bunch of older guys. The Japanese team it's always a bunch of older guys reflecting where their cultures are. You can see in our homeless guys, there's ideas about them. There's often an ex-professional or two in our team. And when I say ex-professional, I mean guys who got released at 18, 19, and so they had two, 3 years with a good club there or thereabout. Didn't make it. Took some bad choices, and that meant they didn't make it. It comes either way. Same in lots of other teams. So quality quality of football is good. It's not the thing we select on. We select on who's engaging with who's engaging with the programme,
right.
who's turning up, who's doing the literacy classes, who's dealing with their addiction issues, who's dealing with their housing, who's dealing with their family situations, and just who's grasping all the opportunities that we're giving. Folks are very much pushed to get qualifications, often in football. So the team's selected on who's engaging.
Yeah.
But it's a football tournament.
You want to win.
Guys can play fit. The guys who are loving the football, engaging in the programme, tend to be guys who can play a bit.
Yeah.
Do you know, we got handy...
You talked about opportunities here, and that's something I was interested in, because obviously you mentioned at the start that you're playing football and all that kind of thing, but it's kind of like a vehicle for so many other things. What are the other things that are being offered? Because clearly being homeless isn't just about not being able to get a house. It's about the issues that surround yourself and the things that are happening. So what kind of things are happening around the football?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Housing's part of it, but it's only part of it. Building it, having enough houses is great, but it doesn't solve homelessness. It does for a little bit, but so much more complex stuff going on. So we're working with folks. So addictions. So certainly help folks with housing. There's projects and support around addictions. There's projects and support around. Thank you, boss.
Do you want any sausage?
No. Sorry, we just got breakfast served there.
Well, the folks love the background stuff.
Here we go. Stuff around housing, stuff around addictions, stuff around employability. So it's really big on college courses on training, and getting your football coaching badges, and getting your refereeing badge, and getting that stuff. Working around family breakdown, working around mediation, and just working around the whole stuff you spoke about at the start. Self-esteem, respect. So there's tons going on. There's a complete programme going on. There's partnership with Sam H, so the mental health stuff.
Yeah.
It's a pretty complete, pretty holistic package there, which takes a lot of effort. But that's what gets.
You touched on the mental health aspect, and that's exactly what I was going to promote you. That so much homelessness is linked to mental health problems.
Yes.
But as you know, mental health problems are mostly unseen.
Yep.
So, I guess one of the things I would try to say is probably you've taken on the role of the Homeless World Cup is to try and sort of destroy the stigmas around that, I feel like.
Yeah. And it very, very much is. I can't overstate the partnership with Sam H, the Scottish Association for Mental Health, and the work they're doing together, and it fits in very well. So Sam H have got different arms to what they do. Mm-hmm. Some of that is challenging the stigmas, and whether that's you see the posters. Seen a poster in the pub toilet, or encouraging folks to talk about it, encouraging folks to acknowledge, or whether it's encouraging folks to get active. You see they get active stuff all the time, because it's such a help, and it's such a boost to anyone's mental health to be outside, to be active, to be doing. So it is. It's a good mix. It's a good fit. It's a good partnership. As we do provide activity in a nice, holistic, supportive.
Yeah, because people certainly in my area, and I've seen it in the past, the people that didn't understand that it's almost like a vicious circle. Crime, poverty, and mental health issues, and depression, and so on. That it's easy to get stuck on that merry-go-round, and you need somebody to pull you off it.
And that's what the football does. And the opportunities that come with this football. The folks are on that merry-go-round, and they go, hold on, I'll have a shot of that, and they step off, because they go, I used to like football. I mind that. I wouldn't mind going for a game of football with my pals, or I saw the guys in the paper in Paris. They were. I used to play it, but I could do that.
I want to go there.
I want to be winning the HomeBhoys World Cup in Paris. That looks like something I could do, eh? And they step off that roundabout, down to our session. Somebody going, oh, when they mind you my coaching badge here, I could volunteer with these guys. Yeah, off to college. There we go. Yeah, actually, I am seeing my addictions working. I am doing my 12 steps. I'm doing. Yeah. Somebody good. I'm a long way from where I was 2 years ago.
Aye. It's like they turn round and suddenly everything's changed.
Yeah, and just that little change in perspective. Suddenly Nicola Sturgeon and Alex Salmond want to meet them and get a photo with them. You go, what? What's the First Minister coming down for a kickabout with? Suddenly Alex Ferguson's coming along and getting them a wee bit of coaching. They're going, hold on, why is Alex Ferguson giving me a wee bit of coaching? I'm just I'm just a wee boy off the scheme here, and suddenly everyone's wanting a piece of me. What?
I think that's a really good point, because I've been affected by it myself, where when you come to certain areas and stuff, you do feel a bit like anything good that happens to you shouldn't really happen to you.
Yeah.
And then you feel as though you're part of it, you know.
And I don't know if it's a big Scottish thing or not, but it's certainly something we see. Folks, why would they want to talk to
Exactly.
These are the guys. These are the folks should be talking to, need to be talking to, and genuinely want to. You know, they're up. They get paraded out at half time in Scotland games. They take the trophy round. They take the trophy round ground, so they're at Motherwell at half time and Hibs at half time. They're up to City Chambers showing off the trophy. They're down to Butte House meeting First Ministers and all, and something like them. Such another worldly experience. But we do, the Scots, sit there and go, just a wee laddie for leaf, why this?
Aye, exactly. No, I think you're absolutely right. So, you mentioned at the start that there's a bit of a paradox coming. The paradox is, you've probably spoken there, and probably people who don't know you didn't realise what your politics are and what your political history is, which is obviously standing for the Conservative Party, primarily in Leith, which I guess is kind of the equivalent of standing for Sinn Féin and Shankill Road.
Oh, I mean, you do that.
But, so how does what you just said fit in with your actual politics?
Fits in totally well. When I was my favourite political poster. My favourite political poster was one of John Major. Mm-hmm. John Major was Prime Minister. It's a black and white one. He was a grey man. He wasn't a handsome man like you and me, Paul. Poster of him. What's the Conservative Party, black and white, and underneath big letters, what's the Conservative Party offer a working class boy from Brixton? They made him Prime Minister. For me, they were always the party, and they still are the party that says it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what you've done. Work hard, you can be anything. Work hard, you can do anything. And that fits right in with the HomeBhoys World Cup as well. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what you've done. And plenty of the guys on the streets aren't in a good place right now. Plenty of folks on the streets have done things they're not particularly proud of, and they think will follow them around forever. Saying it doesn't matter about that. Where you are now, let's get you an opportunity. Let's get that ladder in place there, so we can give you a hand up. It's not about a handout. The HomeBhoys World Cup's not about a handout. It's no, oh poor you're homeless, we'll take you off to play some football.
Yeah.
It's not that at all. It's you've got a ton of potential. There you are, you're on the streets, you've got a ton of potential. We see it, and we're going to give you the hand to see that potential through. And we're going to give you that hand to go and do great things. And that runs through my politics, and it runs through the HomeBhoys World Cup, and it runs through things like the big issue, you know, big issue, their big motto. It's a hand up, it's no a handout.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about opportunities and giving a hand up. How do you tell people who live perhaps in Nidri or Newgrange, who are facing welfare cuts like we've never seen since the Second World War, we're facing tax credit cuts, we're facing, sometimes 50-60% poverty in their areas and unemployment. Where does that fit in with the Conservative Party line on we're here to help everybody?
But we are. We're moving very much to and from a society where folks, there's an expectation that folks do work, that folks do go out, folks do work hard, folks do sitting around getting a hand out is an option. So it's putting the opportunities in place there so folks can get off that circle of being written off, and that doesn't matter if you're and that doesn't matter particularly whoever you are. As a society, we were writing folks off. Like, there you go, you'll be on that benefit for life. We're not going to try and make it. Folks have got it. Folks have got some of the disability stuff. It's very much parked. There you go. You'll never work. Have some benefits for life. Tons to contribute. Tons to offer. As a society, we're writing them off. And to me, that never sat right. And it didn't. So it's getting the stuff in now. Unemployment lowest ever. Jobs are growing. There's a wide variety of jobs out there. There's tons of support to get people into work. It is. Society's going to be better for that. Because the hand up stuff's there.
So, saying all that, how come nobody in Scotland is listening to you? Because clearly they're not voting for you.
Well, there's a couple of things. You've just written off 400,000 folks, so there's 400,000 folks voting Tories.
To be fair, they probably write me off as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but 400,000 folks isn't nobody.
Fair enough.
And that's so people do, but there's we've not been great at making our arguments over the years. We left the field a little in the run up to '97, and then '97 when we got wiped out. I was working in round the corner of the Royal Mail, and so I'm doing a night shift in Brunswick Road. It's going to be nice flats now, but I was doing a night shift sorting the mail. The results were coming through, and they were ripping me mercilessly. We abandoned the field there. We didn't stick up for ourselves. We didn't articulate what was going on. There's so many myths that have built up. Yeah, we let folks build up. Labour closed more mines in Scotland than the Tories did. You didn't hear that talked about, and we let that run. Where we're at now, politics is changing in Scotland. It has changed very much with things like the referendum.
Yeah.
And what you've seen is Labour and the Lib Dems have left the field.
Yeah.
They're not. They come out saying, "Oh, we'll let our guys have a free vote. We can do whatever.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want on the union there because there's a division there." They're not willing to go out and they're unwilling to go out and defend what they've done in the Better Together campaign. And that leaves it wide open for us because we're very proud of keeping the country together. We're very proud saying what we've done is absolutely right. It's a great thing. We've kept the country together. We'll do it again to keep the country together, and we're the safest pair of hands there, folks. And parties that leave the field and parties that abandon their line in the face of siphoning at abuse on Twitter or just the perception that on my street there's 3 of the cars have got a Yes Scotland sticker on and the other 17 cars have got nothing on. It must be a Yes street. It's not. They've just got 3.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with you that there was definitely flaws in the Yes campaign. But first, before we get into that, what I wanted to ask you is 55% of this country voted for the main party in just over a year ago. Do you think that figure would be the same if there was a referendum today?
I think it would be higher.
Really?
Yeah, I think it would be higher. There's no appetite. So, 2 things. One, there were some people who felt safe to vote yes because it would never happen, but they wanted to give 2 fingers up to Cameron and Clegg.
Yeah.
And they did. It was a very effective 2 fingers to Cameron and Clegg there. So some people felt safe to do it because they thought it would never happen, and they got a fright because it was closer than they expected. The second is, you can't keep having referendums every year on the same question.
Yeah.
Folks know that. But if they had another so quickly, folks are going to vote no in a bigger number to put it to bed, because they want it put to bed. If Sturgeon thought she could win it, she would call it.
Yeah.
If Sturgeon thought she could win it, she could call it. She knows she couldn't. She knows it wouldn't go well for them. And that's why she's not called it. She's First Minister. She's got that majority. They've got their 56, 55, 50, 54. They've got their 54 MPs down there. Do you know their...
Because of their... Okay.
They could call it. They could fight for it. They're not, because they know they would lose. And folks in Scotland have seen the bitterness and division that's still hanging around in Scotland. There's a nasty aftertaste in many folks' mouths after this. It was... I hate... People say, oh, what a pleasant, inclusive experience it was. Everyone got re-engaged. Folks were terrified. Folks were abused. Folks are still getting abused.
Yeah. Well, I'll come on to that just in a second, but let me ask you, should the SNP have another landslide vote in 2016? As a Conservative, what do you take to that?
If the election was today, they'll have another landslide vote. 45% gets you a landslide vote.
Yeah.
In the electorate, when the better together the parties of the union are still larger than 55 is bigger than 45, but when 55 is split 3 or 4 ways, none of that adds up to 45. So that if the election was today, I expect them to do well. I expect the Conservatives to have their best ever return of MSPs. I expect Labour and the Lib Dem misery to continue, and Labour to have another miserable experience there. But yeah, I think I would be expecting them to do well, because the 45 will
come out and go.
For most,
yes.
The 45, and for most of the 45, the dream will never die. The dream will never die. Give it 10 years, they'll be denying they had that dream and pretending they were.
See, let me state my position as I'm obviously a yes voter. I've never been an SNP voter, and I would never really be a member of their party or anything, but I can see how the SNP has kind of charmed a lot of left-wing people, some of the stuff that they've said, a lot of rhetoric. And I attended a million debates where I've seen people who were uber left-wingers, if you like, saying they were voting no because they didn't want to abandon people in Manchester and Liverpool, whatever. I had people myself say to me in Manchester and Liverpool, don't abandon us. Yet, there doesn't seem to be a collective force that I'm sure you would agree that a lot of people vote yes because they hate the Tories. You said that, you know, what he can. And there's no doubt in my mind that what we witnessed in the week or two prior to the vote was political awakening like I've never seen in Scotland, where not just the Tories but everybody was rushing up to Scotland and saying, Christ almighty, we could actually lose this.
Yes.
I don't think they expected that at that time.
No, but it was quite fun, quite challenging when the poll came out that put yes ahead.
Yeah.
Folks, because we've been campaigning for years, it's been a long time run up to this, and suddenly at sort of canvas sessions we'd go out, and we'd been going out for years where canvas sessions across the country, near around Leith, getting 5 or 6 at a canvas session, and that's great. You can get a lot of canvassing done with 5 or 6 folk, especially if you're doing it over a couple of years. There was always sort of 5 or 6 folks. Then a couple of weeks before the turn up at campus station, there's 80 folk standing there. I've got enough for 5 or 6, no for 8. And then every day you were out dealing with numbers in the hundreds. The folks had never knocked a door, never delivered a leaflet. They said they thought everything was going to be fine. They saw that poll, they were terrified. Out they came. The phone was melting. Folks, generally Tories from down south, because I'm a Tory and we know each other. What's going on here? And I'm on the train, I'm coming up, I'm going to crash on your sofa. I'm going, the sofas are full, you can have the floor. I'll borrow my neighbour's airbed and you can, the house became a doll's house. It was just full of folks all pitching up saying, what can we do? But it was folks from here, folks from everywhere saying, how can we help? This can't happen. So yeah, there was a shock, there was a fright, there was an awakening across the country, and everyone in the country had a good think about how they were going to vote and why they were going to vote. Turnout couldn't have been higher. Folks didn't come out to vote in that after 2.5 years of bombarding in the last couple of weeks of that.
I mean, that poll in particular on that day I would liken very much to the Labour Party in 1992, a day or so before Major was elected, where by all intents and purposes Labour were going to sweep in there. We had the victory rally at Sheffield, which was the biggest mistake they ever made, and of course the Tories came out and still won the election. But I suppose the big question I have to ask you, and people will be screaming at this, I know, is why shouldn't Scottish people govern themselves?
We do.
We are not calling.
No, we had a choice again. We had a choice again a year ago. What sort of government do we want? Do we want to pool and share our resources across the United Kingdom? Or do we want to do it on our own? We had that choice entirely. And we chose the way we want to govern ourselves, which is pool and share resources across the United Kingdom. Massively democratic, a massively informed choice. The right one for me. There's no dog collar. Absolute choice. And I think we made the right one. I think we dodged a bullet. I'm happy that reflects public opinion there.
Well, I mean, again, we could go on all day about that, but I suppose before we get on to the social media aspect there, the one thing I would say about democracy is how does it tie in with democracy when the majority of people in Scotland vote for a party who all vote for a policy which is then voted down by Westminster in terms of Syria? How do you then say to the Scottish people you're living in democracy?
Well, the polling, there's a couple of things. We choose very much to remain part of the United Kingdom. We chose very much to send our representatives and pool and share resources across the United Kingdom there. And the United Kingdom Parliament makes those decisions there. The SNP weren't voted for by a majority of the Scottish people. So, but in the representative democracy, they represent us all, but they're voted for by a minority of Scottish folk. But they represent us all, and that's the system there. So I'm deeply disappointed Deirdre Brock doesn't want to take the fight, my local MP. Deeply disappointed she voted against taking the fight to IS. I want to take the fight to IS, I'd fight them on the moon, because they're coming for us.
So you're willing to go then? To Syria yourself?
No way I'm going to Syria.
You just said you're willing to take the fight there.
I want big bad trained killers with great equipment to go there and keep us safe, and that's what our forces do.
Okay, so you're willing to send people there, but you're not actually willing to go yourself?
I wouldn't last too long in Syria.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are going to last too long.
It's a job for soldiers and airmen, and I'm not a soldier and I'm not an airman.
Okay, let's talk a wee bit of the SNP and go back to football, maybe give them a bit of a kicking again. The offensive behaviour at football, what's your view on it?
I want to say it's the most foul bill they've come up with, but one of the most foul bills they've come up with, because they've come up with several. Football fans get a hard deal in this country. We absolutely have, and again, maybe it's me, it's another group.
You're a match going home and away Hearts supporter.
Yeah. Another sort of grouping that I'm in that hasn't represent as football fans, we've not represented ourselves well over the last 20, 30 years, and we've been very passive in articulating who we are, what we want, how we want to move. It's been very handy and easy for folks that don't understand us or like us. So the high Hegians in Police Scotland, the high Hegians in this centralising authoritarian Scottish government, very easy for them to pick a fight with us, and we've no stuck up for ourselves, saying no, we're absolutely good, decent, trustworthy, normal people who should be able to say what we want, sing what we want, have a good time at the football. The only sport you can't have a drink at. I was watching the Davis Cup final the other day. Andy Murray and a Union Jack, all fantastic. The crowd, they were up, they were singing, they were standing, they were having a laugh, and they were having a pint.
No,
it's all right. It's all right.
In Edinburgh, we see it with the rugby fans. Get that, afforded that courtesy. On the tennis thing, as an aside, I must say, like, I can't stand tennis, but it always seems every time Murray's on, Twitter goes mental, and it was funny to see everybody go mental right up until that point you mentioned, where they had the Union Jack and the national anthem came on, and it was just like, oh, for fuck, you know.
Yeah.
But the fickle nature. But I 100% agree with you on the fact that, in terms of, I've never met a policeman in authority, or most of the SNP people I've heard speaking about the place who actually understand what football fans are like.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things terrify me on it. One, there's more than a couple. One of the big ones for me is those young laddies in you, daft teenage laddies, getting stuck with a criminal record for the rest of their life. For stuff that most of us,
Have done.
You sit there and go, if you're coming up and through football, a 14-year-old's daft. Yeah, 16-year-old's daft. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And this is. But part of the thing is how you learn. Part of the thing is how you learn is older guys at the football saying, "Don't be daft," and you follow the folks, because the vast majority are decent, and you look out for your young ones and say, "Hey, put your neck in. That's not acceptable. That's not right." And folks learn, and they do. But there's young ones in out, and this government's no saying how these ones going to learn, or these ones are learning. They're saying criminal record. There you go for life. You're good. That's going to follow you around because he got drunk at 17 and said something the government didn't like you saying when you had a scoop at a football match. Said something daft, and you got a criminal record for life. And that's terrifying. It's oppressive. At the end, it's damaging folks' chances.
Yeah, absolutely.
Folks will be sitting 20 years down the line having to explain, it's a football match, I said something daft. Or I didn't. A policeman thought I did.
Yeah, exactly.
A policeman thought I did.
Exactly.
Done me
and
anyway.
I'll take you back to a hard Celtic game at Newcastle in May 2011, where obviously one head case runs in the park, attacks Neil Lennon. And we all know what happened there and all that. But the next game, there was loads of memos and statements going out with Celtic, urging fans to behave, urging fans not to do this. And I said at the time, and I have to be honest, that if that was me and I was 20-year-old, I'd be taking two fingers up to Celtic saying, I'm going there to represent Celtic and scream and shout all these hats. But as long as I'm not doing that in the street to you and then I'm meeting you in the pub and punch you in the face, what's the problem? Keep it in the ground and it's fine,
That Wilson case, again, highlighted the stupid, narrow-minded, horrible legislation. Broadcast live across the country. There he is. He jumps out the stand. He runs up the terrace, and he's not going to give Neil Lennon a cuddle. He takes a swing. He gets arrested. He's on bail. He's not on bail. He's arrested. He's on remand. They're saying, right, you're going to plead guilty to a sectarian assault. And he's going, no, I'm not sectarian about it. I'm a Catholic. They're going, no, I was a sectarian. You called him a Fenian bastard. No, I didn't. I ran up and took a swing at him because I hate him. Religion's no there. So I plead guilty to assault because that's what it was, but it wasn't a sectarian assault. They pushed through to get a sectarian assault charge, which was no proven because it didn't happen. Because it wasn't a sectarian assault. It was just an assault. So he didn't get the assault. They didn't get the assault charge because they were desperate for the sectarian crime to fit their bill to whatever. And they couldn't stack it up because they didn't.
And then ultimately, few people like me who say, who be able to point at this justice system and say, look, I told you. You know? And it's, it is incredible. And in terms of Hearts, obviously, you've been to the mill and back in the last couple of years. Probably one of the things I think with Hearts is it's been noticeable, and I'm sure you've heard this, is that Hearts are getting more and more abuse for fans that go to the Ibrox, and it looks to me as like, I mean, I'll give you an example. The one when you broke out the strips with all the names of people who helped the club, suddenly they took offence at that, and it seems to me that because Hearts are kind of shown as an example of this is how you actually come back to the depths. That's made you a bit of a pariah with these set of fans. But in terms of, obviously, you were at the EGM yesterday, the club's kind of only up, you're going to build a new stand, etc. The fans there are a shining light of what can be achieved, yet could be criminalised on Saturday at the game.
Yeah.
What's it been like to be a Hearts supporter the last couple of years?
It's been great. It's been great fun. It's been a great ride as a Heart. And it has been a great ride. Even getting relegated once the penny dropped that we were going down. A bit of certainty is quite fun when you know, hey, we're going down. Folks saying, hey, we're shite, and we know we are, and they have fun with it because when you're shite and you know you are, you can. That's quite a fun thing in itself. That season we came down. The latter bit of that season was great fun, especially as we sat there. Hibs came for a relegation party. They came for a relegation party at our patch and got relegated themselves. And we were sitting watching them implode and coming next to us. Because that's one of the things about being a football fan that folks who are not football fans don't particularly get. Of course they were going to come and have a relegation party. We were going down and they were going to laugh at us and try and annoy us. And of course, when they went down, we're going to laugh right back, and it's great banter, it's great fun, and it made what should have been a crap season for us. Suddenly there's a wee bit of sunlight.
No, I know. And I think people who say Edinburgh don't really understand that kind of. At that point, I think it was about 7 games to go or something like that when Hibs went to Tynecastle. Hibs needed one victory to stay up and never got it. And went down obviously in the playoff. Davy Farrell, who used to play for Hibs on this podcast, said that when he played for Hibs, he played in the 22 in a row thing, never won a game against Hearts. And I asked him about that, and he said it was because Hearts went to war in the games and we never. I was at the Hibs Hearts semi-final in 2006 when Hearts won 4-0. Hearts scored.
Brilliant.
You could have put your next opponent 5 minutes before that game.
Oh, I did.
Who's got to win? I mean, there was just no contest. Why is that? What is the thing?
Some of it's that worry. Some of it's that warrior thing. Our guys do. Some of it again. There's a historical. There's been a rotten Hibs. And part of that has come from us consistently hammering them. 22 in a row was great. There was one game in between an 18 in a row, one game and a 22 in a row. My glowing academic career at secondary school, I didn't once go into school after a derby and Hibs had beat us. There wasn't one time through my secondary school I didn't once go in and have the Hibbies in my class say, haha, we pumped you at the weekend, because they never did it. No once. Every single derby we went in going 15, 16, come on, 17 in a row, come on guys, give us a game one of these times. It was fantastic for me as a
Well, that,
TV to run it.
It definitely becomes a psychological thing.
There's a psychological flaw in Hibs there.
I mean, David Farrell talked about the obvious, the worst defeat for Hibs in that game was the cup game when Foster scored in the last minute. Yeah. He played in the game, he says, we're all over them. It's 1-1, this is it, we've got to do it. As soon as that ball went forward from Mackay, he says, I knew he was going to score. You just feel it in the air, you know? And it's football fans, we can sense it, can't we?
And it's the same, that season we got relegated, we had Hibs in the League Cup at Easter Road. They battered us for half an hour, Jamie McDonald was just outstanding in the goals, and he saves his good performances for Hibs. Outstanding in the goals, chance after chance after chance, save after save after save. Punted the ball up. Stevenson turns and smashes one in through outside the box. 1-0, half an hour in. We've not touched the ball. We're 1-0 up. Hibs fans start leaving because they know they're beat. We've not touched the ball. We're 1-0 up. The Hibs fans, they know they're beat. We know we've won. We know they'll play for another hour, but they're so soft, so weak. We know the game's over half an hour in. Game was over half an hour in.
Yeah,
and Hibs were the better team.
Yeah, I know.
Hibs were by far the better team.
So, right, before we round up on something, I want to go back to the social media thing in terms of how has that changed politics. You've talked about divisions, and I've noticed the divisions, you know, I can put my hands up and say 10 years ago I'd have been screaming, shouting, ranting and raving like the rest of them. You grow up a wee bit, you mature. I don't think it helps at all on both sides. There are guys and organisations and Twitter streams that are horrific.
Yeah.
They're putting no arguments forward. I mean, has that led to you getting a lot of abuse?
Yeah, you get it. Yeah, you get abuse, and you just have to. I think there's a. Okay, and I don't mind it when it's funny, but you got to understand the. You've got to understand the medium, and it is. You've got to understand the medium there. You've got to understand that there are idiots. I done the TV the other night, and Wings Over Scotland. Reverend Stuart Campbell lives in Buffers Rats. He tweeted, "Is Iain McGill drunk on the telly again?" And all his wee acolytes there sitting going, "Oh, he must be pissed. Oh, do you hear the way he talks? Tories didn't talk like that. It's fine. Wings will do what Wings does, and that's fine. Chris Graham will do what Chris Graham does, and his wee acolytes will sit and send you tweets saying you're a disgrace and you're a shambles and all of that, and that's fine. I'm happy to keep. I guess for me there's an element of I don't particularly engage with them. I'll sometimes provoke them a little bit by saying, how can I get to number one on Chris Graham's list? And they'll go, you dirty blah 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 blah. I don't particularly engage with them. There's no. Yeah.
Does it ever extend to
Twitter's great.
side of Twitter?
Yeah, you get stuff. I was having a look at. I had a look after the referendum for an article that I knew. So we had journalists out all the time. The world's press were here, and they were coming out seeing what both sides were doing. So especially the last couple of weeks, I wasn't out in a session that didn't have. Hey, I'm a journalist from Brazil. Hey, I'm a Japanese TV company. Hey, I'm a Swedish press journalist here. I'm a South African radio journalist. There was always someone coming out to report back. So I was out Resurreg, just no far from the Hibs Stadium, Sunday afternoon, and had two. I'm okay. Teed up. Give a plug for Word of Mouth Cafe on Albert Street, best cafe in town. Out Hermitage Park, so just far from the Hibs Stadium, Sunday afternoon, doing a canvas session. Probably about a dozen of us on it. Probably about a dozen of us doing these few streets. Out with two Swedish journalists, so press written media. I'm going to say girls, but they're not. They're typical Swedes. You would know they were Swedes.
Right,
two very blonde folks. And what we were doing, we were looking. We'd said if we met anyone interesting on the doorsteps, we'd introduce it to the Swedish journalists. Sure. So there was one of them had gone in. There was a woman in the street had said she would love to have a no poster up, but she was too scared because she thought her windows would get put in. So we said to the Swedish journalist, "Here, you might want to have a chat with this woman and ask her why she wouldn't want to put a a Better Together poster up in our window. So the journalist's there. So I went back along to get the journalist after a few minutes because Canvas team's moved along. She comes away going, "Oh great, there's an old man walking his dog." An old man walking his dog on a Sunday afternoon went off on a rant at me and this journalist went off on a big rant. Westminster paedophiles, all of that, properly shouting and bawling about paedophiles in the street. And off he goes, carries on his Sunday afternoon walking his dog. Does he think I'm a paedophile? No, he doesn't think you're a paedophile. She's going, why would an old man on a Sunday afternoon come up and scream in my face about paedophiles? Welcome to it. I'm going, that's just embarrassing trying to explain that. This is this big, friendly, inclusive, cosy thing. Men are up in the street bawling at Swedish journalists about paedophiles because some folks are Better Together badges.
yeah. I mean, that does lend into the division that's came. Yeah,
and that's more embarrassing. That's more embarrassing than a few idiots on Twitter tweeting their mantras out. Twitter's great, but you just have to ignore. You ignore them. You go, great. They're no for influencing or for talking or for interacting really. But there's a ton of great folks. On Twitter. Saying, here, this is a great person. We can have some banter there, and we can swap ideas, and we can even be friends and have a cup of tea sometimes.
Well, I suppose that leads into the final question, which is, you're a Hearts supporter in Leith.
Yeah.
You're a Tory in Leith. Do you like being hated? Is this a thing?
No one hates me.
Do you like being an outsider?
No, there might be something contrary to me. There might be, but a Hearts fan in Leith's no unusual.
Aye.
And it's not. A Hearts fan in Leith's no unusual. A couple of my brothers are heavies, but we were all left to our own devices as kids. We're left to our own devices. So I fell in with a good crowd at school. A couple of my brothers fell in with bad crowds at school. So they end up at Easter Road and I end up at Tynecastle. Because we're going to football with our pals. That's just offy Scottish. That's no contrary. That's no.
And you just went to a normal secondary school.
Aye, yeah.
So is that a reason you're not in the cabinet now? Because you didn't go to Eton or?
Oh, I didn't think going to Eton would have helped me get elected in Leith. I like doing my local patch. So it is. And this is my patch. This is my local patch. But I'd say being a Hearts fan in Leith isn't contrary, and being a Tory in Leith isn't contrary either.
Fair enough. Well, that's all for that, folks. Some interesting stuff there. Something new for the podcast. The background noise, as Ian said, was provided by Worldly Mouth and Albert Street in Leith. This has been a HomeBhoys Extra for the Hill Media, and we shall see you again soon.